Excellent.
Thursday, wait a minute. It's not Thursday. It's Monday, and we are coming at you with a special episode of Two Severed Heads. So we thank you, everyone who's joining us on YouTube and, of course, on Facebook for this special episode. It's Main Monday. I had a chance to host Tyler Main's panel back in June at Niagara Falls Comic-Con, and he decided to come on anyways, but we could not thank him enough for coming on. We're going to be talking a little bit about his career. We're going to talk about Halloween, of course, being this is a horror podcast, and we've got something even more important to talk about. We're going to be talking about his latest endeavor with Main Entertainment, and that, of course, is the Kickstarter that we have going on for the Last Spartan Red Tape, trying to raise some awareness for human trafficking. So without delay, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, well, how's it going, man?
It's going well, man. Let's give everybody what they came for today, and welcome Mr. Tyler Main to Two Severed Heads.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on.
Coming out.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Are we gonna have the same fiasco like we had at the Niagara Falls Comic-Con?
We are not. We are not.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely felt unsafe at a few points. Definitely this one as well.
Michael Myers was always
that was like one of my funnest.
I'm a Jason guy, but Michael was always the one that I was afraid of the most. Because he was real. Like Jason was campy. Jason was funny in the 80s. Michael was never funny. Michael was terrifying, and you really brought that brutality to the role. And like he's about to bring the brutality to this stage. You got a fucking death wish, don't you?
Oh man, I'm so glad you leaned into it with me, because it was a lot of fun for sure.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you for that.
No problem. Yeah, cool. Man. What's it like? The convention scene. You just got back from Michigan. You were at a convention. How many of these do you do a year?
I've been doing a few more, like at least every other weekend. But this is the season. 'Tis the season, right, for the Halloween. So I was somewhere just about every weekend. But leading up to this Kickstarter, I've been doing as much as I can to raise awareness and get the word out of the graphic novel that we got that is live right now. I think we have like 9 or 10
there it is.
days left of the
10
Kickstarter.
Days left, yes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, 10 days left. We're going to share the link on our Facebook page, so everybody, don't worry about jotting it down. You can go to our page afterwards and check it out, and go to the Kickstarter page, check it out. You can also go to Main Entertainment. You can get the Kickstarter page through there, and you can check out some of his other stuff. And yeah, man, could not be more excited. I'm a huge Rob Zombie fan, obviously. Yeah. Those Halloween movies, like I grew up on the 80s stuff, but those Halloween movies just And I know we were having some fun at Comic-Con, but it was true. Like Michael was always the one that terrified me the most because he wasn't this supernatural being. Well, supernatural being, but he just seemed like a psycho that just could not be stopped. He wasn't, coming back to life every movie and doing all these, coming at your dreams. And Michael was just, So coincidentally enough, our guest last week, and thank you, Courtney Gaines, for coming on. You guys can all go to fakefang.com to check out his new album, Safe Haven. So, but yeah, he was actually your first kill as adult Michael in Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yes. Those guys had to go.
Right?
It's like you were saying with Rob's, he wanted to show how Michael was a product of his environment,
right?
Through the upbringing, through being in the asylum, and how he was treated up until then, which kind of set him off to try and reunite with Laurie, which is just something that's. It was just amazing the way he laid and set the stage for that. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
And Lou Temple and
brutality.
Yeah. And Lou Temple, as we talked about too, just a super, super nice guy. We've had Lou on the show before. He was actually, I think, my first interview at a con like almost 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I got to kill a great bunch of guys, The funny thing is everybody says, "Oh, why did you kill Danny?"
Oh, yeah, he was the only nice one.
I know, right? He was good to you, Mikey. But the thing is, think about it. Would he have let me walk out of there? No.
Oh, no.
So he had to go. I think in the first one, in the first screening, they did let him live, and people were almost too sympathetic for Michael Myers. So we had to go back and re-kill him and a couple other people.
When I was watching it last week, I was like, he just could have broke his legs or something. Like,
you're
right. Yeah.
You got to use a TV and water and,
Yeah. If anybody has any questions for Tyler, throw them in the comments. We'll get them out there to him as we move along here in the show. But we want to go back. You're a fellow Canuckle. You grew up in the prairies in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Obviously a wrestling fan. You use that as your catapult into the movie and entertainment industry. Being a Canadian, what was the wrestling dreams? Did you know of Stu Hart's Dungeon? And did you think you have aspirations of like, man, I'm going to be a wrestler and I'm going to train. I'm going to have Stu Hart stretch me out.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't thinking that far ahead, but I was a tall, skinny kid with glasses, braces that was slightly dyslexic, right?
Yeah.
And I needed to work out. I knew I needed to work out, but I would always watch Stampede Wrestling on Saturdays.
Oh, nice.
And then I would watch action films. And in between all that, I'd be reading and looking at my comics and doing all that stuff. And then Sunday night, Wonderful World of Disney would come on, and you hope it's like Davy Crockett or something like that, one of those cool ones, action ones. And then I'd have to go back to school on Monday, and I just hated it. But watching Stampede Wrestling and seeing all those guys wrestle, I was like, I'm going to do that someday. And everybody's like, yeah, right. I had to prove them wrong when they did that, So
absolutely.
Like I got out of high school and I loaded up my Jeep and I drove to Calgary from Saskatoon and just was relentless. And Stu saw me and he said, kid, come over to the house. I'll give you breakfast and we'll train a bit. And I'm like, okay. And then when he sent me downstairs to the dungeon by myself, I was like, oh shit, what am I getting into? But real. He stretched me and I came back and stuff like that. And then the WWF came through and Red Bastien was there and he asked me to come out to California. And I was like, oh, California. So I went and trained in California and with Mondo Guerrero from the Guerrero family. So I got the Stu Hart training and I got the Mondo Guerrero family, the Guerrero family training.
That's unbelievable.
And then did that for 11 and a half years and wrestled all over the world. WWF, not WWF, WCW, UWF, all
National
Japan,
Wrestling.
Japan.
Yep.
I mean, the list goes on and on, all over the world.
Wow.
And yeah, it was just a great stepping stone into the acting. And when I was in Mexico, they asked me if I wanted to do one of those Mexican wrestling movies, those ones with the luchador.
Oh, the lucha. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Sorry.
That was actually my very first movie that I did. And I realized, I kind of like this better. I'm not getting dropped on my head, and they feed you in between takes and stuff. So I was like, all right, let's figure this out. And I did that one. Then I did the Bandit Goes Country, which was the spinoff of the Smoking the Bandit, part of the Universal Action Pack.
Cool.
I did that. And then when I got X-Men and with Sabretooth, I hung up the wrestling boots for good.
That was great. Yeah, your rendition of Sabretooth is probably the closest to the book. Like when he was first introduced with Iron Fist, like that was unbelievable.
Yeah. A lot of people mention that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. It's cool to see that character come to life, from the old Iron Fists and stuff like that. So
yeah.
And wrestling is a natural. It's you are basically real life action heroes. So to move into a role like Sabretooth in the X-Men movies with, just like mega stars, that must have been like, was that the point where you're like, all right, this is it. This is what I'm doing now.
Yeah, it was a little surreal, it like you got Ian McKellen, I'm his sidekick, and then you got, Patrick Stewart, you got Halle Berry, you got all these people, and I'm like, okay, take a breath here. This will, but it just felt like it really fit, and then they just started coming, like that. Wow. X-Men, then Troy, then all the other ones. So yeah,
Troy, that was awesome.
You're not going to find a bigger movie that summer than Troy.
Yeah, that battle was we were in front of the gates of Troy, but it was actually filmed in Cabo San Lucas, and it was like 110, 115, and it was hot. But it turned out great, so it was well worth it.
I think the scale alone from a movie like Troy to even X-Men, which is a huge production, that must have been like massive.
Yeah, it was just pulling up to the gates of Troy for the very first time. You're like, wow, it's like, this is crazy.
Is there a role that you regret doing, or is there a role that you have done that you wish you could have done to continue the story into another movie?
Oh, wow. Is there a role that I would regret doing? No, I don't regret any of them, but one that I would have wished that would have kept going is Jupiter's Legacy.
Oh, yeah.
That we were supposed to do like 5 seasons, and if you've ever seen the Mark Millar comic book, Black Star is just in it at the beginning for just a very little bit, and then he's done. Yeah. And they created this whole character for me and brought him back, and I took on the whole Utopia by myself and kicked most of their asses until I get thrown in the clink. But and on the very last day of filming, the producers were explaining how they're going to tell my character's backstory and all of this the next season, and then and it released. It was during the COVID stuff. Like, we just finished filming shut down, COVID hit, and then went into all of that. But when it was released, we were number 1 in the world for I think for quite a while, and then the suits at Netflix just pulled the plug because they had changing of the suits, and it was so that's the one that I wish would have had some more.
Me too. I gotta ask, how long did it take for you to get in those prosthetics in the suit?
Oh my God. That was 3.5 hours. There were 8 pieces that were glued on my face.
Unbelievable.
And then they'd have to paint it all.
Yeah.
And the only part of my body that was not covered were my lips.
Wow.
Everything else was covered. And I'm telling you, that was so hot. It took 3.5 hours to get into it. And then you'd film for, 12, 14 hours and an hour to take it off. It was intense, but it was well worth it because the character, he's my favorite character today.
He's awesome.
He was cocky, badass, and then he had that soft side,
How much of those long days and long nights and road trips during your wrestling career, basically kind of seasons you for these long shoot days and stuff like that? Was this like, this is tough, but I'm not getting, like you said, I'm not getting slammed on my head.
Yeah, exactly. The rest, people can't understand. They don't understand just how much wrestling prepares you for stuff like this. It's, it transitioned really well for me.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. For sure.
Do you think you may have stuck around longer in wrestling had your friend and tag team partner Vinny Vegas, aka Kevin Nash, had moved to the WWF, now WWE? Do you think you might have stuck around a little longer?
You never know. I'm actually, the way I look at it, in this business, wrestling business, entertainment business, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
So I think he was meant to go that path. I was meant to go this path, and it, worked out great for both of us. So, yeah.
And he's made a nice transition into the big screen as well.
Yeah. Yeah. He's been doing some stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love his role in the Longest Yard with the Adam.
Oh,
Sandler
yeah.
version. Oh my God.
Yeah.
This cracks me up every time. You've done some comedies as well. You had a small role in Joe Dirt.
Yes. That whole movie was just a bunch of cameos,
Right. How much fun was that? Did you actually get to work directly with David Spade in that?
Yeah. It was that the whole oil rig scene. I think we shot it probably in a day. And that oil rig scene was just so much fun because he just kept riffing, and I'm like, "Oh my God, stop it!"
Playing with fire. I mean, this one
playing with fire.
Jesus, like you hit the castmate jackpot on this one for a comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, John Leguizamo, John Cena, and Keegan-Michael Key. How fun was that set?
Leguizamo and Keegan-Michael Key would not stop. It was like they were just trying to make everybody laugh, And they knew their jobs, and they did it well. It was just so much fun. Like the one scene where the fire, the gun goes off and stuff, and I remember Leguizamo was diving over the counter and was screaming like a little girl. It was just hilarious. He came up. He goes, "I'm not doing that again." It was so much fun.
That's cool.
Your production company, Main Entertainment, you put out a couple movies, both horror thriller types. Do you have, like, I mean, obviously, you're famous for being Mike Myers, I mean, you've done a lot more than that, but it's such an iconic role to be held up there in I guess the
Mount Rushmore report.
Mount Rushmore. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, the Mount Rushmore of serial killers or slashers. Would you like to do more comedy? Is that something that you see yourself doing?
I love it. I love all aspects of it, like the action, the horror, the comedy, and I've been very lucky to transition and go through all the different organizations. Sparkle Pony. Okay, that's that's funny. That's funny. But it was just just being able to do all the different styles is great fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, we got a few other movies we're going to talk about here before we really get into our Halloween stuff. Victor Crowley.
Yeah, that was actually so. Adam calls up Derek Mears, a buddy of mine, and says, "Hey, do you think Tyler would open up the movie for me?" And Derek goes, "Well, why don't you just call him yourself?" And so I get a call from Adam, and he goes, "Hey, I got this little part. Would you want to come down and play for the day?" And I go, "Yeah, sure. What the hell, you know?" And went and just had fun. If I got a chance to play with people that I enjoy being around, and then I get to come and help them create their projects, I'm all for it.
And that's a great group. Felicia Rose is just absolutely. She is just. She's amazing. And of course, Dave Sheridan is like that guy's just a barrel of laughs everywhere he goes.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, Officer Doofy reporting.
You're right.
So when we were at Frightmare last weekend, Steve, I was in line. Me and Zeus, we were in line to get our picture with Carrie Elwes, and he had been planned to be at the Penance Lane. I watched it last night. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
The lineup for the Terrifier photo op was absolutely huge, and then here comes David Howard Thornton dressed up as the Terrifier around the corner, and who's escorting him is Officer Doofy. He's like, "Come on, everybody, get out of the way. We're not clowning around here."
Right.
Classic Dave. Yeah. But let's talk about Penance Lane. I watched this one last night. What a great movie! And again, you talked about getting to work with people, not only that you have history with, but that are just great at what they do. This movie's no different. I mean, Scout Taylor Compton, Daniel Roebuck, who's just fucking amazing in everything. John Schneider, and of course, some friends from back in your wrestling days, Booker T and DDP.
Yeah. It was it was just one of those things that we had the script and Munir Sharif wrote it. We tweaked it up a little bit, and Renee did a revamping to it to make it more modern, because we got that I think that came across our desk 10, 15 years ago. So we kind of revamped it a bit and wanted to modernize it. And then I just figured, okay, who do I want to play with, and who do I want to, so I called Booker, and he goes, it was his first movie ever, and he came and he knocked it out of the park, and T-Love, and I mean, all these guys, and Dallas DDP, it was just fantastic. And it was such a low budget film. Like, we actually filmed here. I bought the house in Atlanta, and then we filmed in the basement here before I did my renovations. Wow. And so it was a lower budget, but turned out pretty good.
Yeah, it did.
It definitely did. But that wasn't your first goal. Oh, sorry, Steve. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say DDP. He's such a positive guy too. Like, having him around would be unbelievable. Like,
he's such a great dude. It's like, and that's the way the boys are. Anything what do you want me to do? I'm there, type of thing. So. It was fantastic getting to work with him, all those guys, and John Schneider, coming in and doing that favor for me was amazing. The funny thing is I met John for the very first time in California. Our neighbor across the street used to write songs with him, and he goes, "Hey, Tyler, come over here. I got somebody wants to meet you, and let's have a drink." And it was John, And we just hit it off and started hanging out. And then I called him and said, "Hey, man, I got this movie. You want to come and do it?" And he said, "Yeah, sure. Let's do it." And he is amazing in it. He's amazing.
Awesome. Yes, he is.
Yeah. And like you said, Daniel Roebuck and Scout. Oh, yeah.
No, you definitely got a great cast for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And Compound Fracture, that was your first go with Main Entertainment?
Yeah, that was the very first one. It was.
So how different was that experience from getting this one off the ground and to the finished product than it was Penance Lane? Was that a lot easier, or was it just as challenging? Was there different challenges?
Compound Fracture we had set in the one place pretty much, and it was we. Of course, you put together different teams, and the team for Compound Fracture was calling a lot of favors of people that we knew from the past and stuff. So it was kind of like working with family on that one, which was a lot of fun. And it was written by Renee. Renee and myself wrote it and created this little ghost story.
That was great.
Yeah, I just when I just shut it off right before we when I came out here, and I just got into the treehouse scene. I don't want to give away too much, but yeah, I was at the treehouse scene when I came out. So, yeah, it's getting weird. What's going on, man? What's going on?
And Derek is great in everything too, right? Like Derek is such a badass in everything too.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's like it's funny how because Derek and I we lived like a block and a half away from each other in California when we were there. And we would drink together and hang out, and it would be, Derek, Todd Farmer, and all of us hanging out. And I said, "Hey, I want to fight you." He goes, "Okay, in a movie, my movie."
Good save.
And then he goes, I said, "You said okay," so that's how we got him in. And I mean, of course, he is a true professional and amazing.
Steve and I had talked about this prior. We were saying how cool it would have been to have you in your role as Michael Myers and have a Michael versus Jason movie with Derek Mears.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they would never do that because you got the two different franchises.
Right.
But that's like a dream. That's a dream horror movie in matching right there.
Right? Yeah. I mean, maybe if you team up and they go on a killing spree together, but then it's like, who gets to do the dirty work,
Because again, as much as I have a lot of love for Michael, but I have been a Jason guy my whole life growing up. And Derek Mears, like that 2009 Friday the 13th movie, like I remember seeing it in theaters, and I think it's about 23 minutes because I hosted the panel with the director and Andrew Bernarski last year. And I think it's about 23 minutes in, and the entire cast is dead. And I was like, what just happened? This is awesome.
Right?
Not the only thing that you've been in with Derek Mears, though. And I know you said you guys have been buddies. How did this come about?
Oh, that, we both just got the call and they said, "Hey, you want to come and do this?" And of course you're going to go and just have some fun,
Like that was a movie in itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was the DP for the Halloweens did that.
Okay.
I mean, he's just amazing.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm having a brain fart right now, and because I've been traveling all day. But yeah,
I didn't even know about that, and I'm a huge Slayer fan. And Steve told me about that on Thursday, and I YouTubed it immediately. I was like, "Where is this being?" You know what I mean? Like, wow.
Yeah.
That first scene when you come out of the cell and then you just throw the barbell at the prison guard there. It's just like, oh man.
Yeah. Take somebody out quick.
Were you a Slayer fan? Is that your what kind of music does Tyler Main listen to?
I'm listening to old school rock, man. Like I'm like Rush, Zeppelin, guys like that,
Nice.
That's
awesome.
That's my go-to.
Cool.
Steve honored me with the nickname years ago as the Metal Mennonite. I am a huge metal fan, but like you, I'm close to 50. I grew up on 50 stuff because that's what was playing in my house. I grew up on Elvis and Buddy Holly and the Crickets and and the Beatles and stuff like that. But I made my transition into classic rock. And I mean, I've seen everybody, like I always say, because it's as far as way as you get from each other. I've seen everybody in concert from Gordon Lightfoot to Cannibal Corpse. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah. Wide variety, man.
Yeah.
Steve, you did some work for Twisted.
Oh, ages ago.
Yeah. And this was another music video you popped up in. And again, it was like this one was almost like had that silent movie film type feel to it.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was
awesome.
that was a lot of fun to do that. I forgot all about that until you just popped that up. That was a cool look.
That is
very cool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're both great dudes. Those guys are just fantastic.
Yeah,
wow.
There's definitely a movie in there somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. All right. So getting back, a few other things I wanted to talk to you about. This was absolutely one of my favorite shows. I didn't watch it religiously because I can never remember. I think it was on late at night. I didn't even actually watch it in syndication, but you did one spot on this, Son of a Beach.
Actually, two.
Oh, two? Was it two?
Really?
I apologize.
I did two. They brought that character back. Why? I don't know, but they brought him back. Yes.
Yeah, that show was a Howard Stern production, I believe.
Yes. Yes, it was.
That says all you need to know.
That's all, and playing Adolf Manson, that was the character's name. I'm like, what? Okay.
Take some of the most evil names.
Do I have a bucket list of actors who I would like to work with? Oh, wow. I would like to work with Schwarzenegger because I watched him growing up. Seeing that was what kind of got me going. So I would love to work with him if I could someday. Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Sure. And lately, people have been able to see you in a little show. You may have heard of it, Doom Patrol.
Nice.
From the DC universe. You play Torminox?
Torminox, yes. Yep. There was another character that was just in the novel or in the comic for like a split second, and then they expanded that for that. Cool. So that was kind of cool. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't think with the SAG after strike we can actually talk about future projects right now.
No. Yeah, no.
Yeah, so sorry about that, James, but yeah. Hopefully everybody can get that one sorted out soon because
yeah. Wow.
It's been going on a while, but you know what? You guys are definitely on the side of right for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is. It'll get figured out. And in the meantime, we have graphic novels to talk about.
That's right, we do. Let's save the Halloween stuff. Let's get into Last Spartan Red Tape. This is you brought this up during the panel that I hosted with you in June, and man, to have a project that's so close to your heart, and then have such a bigger meaning to it, to bring a widespread attention to something like human trafficking. Tell us all about how you got into this.
Yeah, it was a novel that crossed my desk about 15 years ago, written by John Saunders. And I really loved the concept of it. And I wanted to do something with that. But we had to wait and find the right medium that we were going to do with it. And so during doing the research, I realized that it was something that was very serious. The topic, I just needed to do something with this, and what I did was I called David Hayter and I called Tom DeSanto, both from the X-Men days, and I said, hey, okay, I want to turn this into a property. What way do you think I should go? And they go, well, with your wife being Renee Geerlings, who was the editor-in-chief of Top Cow for 10 years, and knowing all the people in the comic industry, why don't you turn it into a graphic novel? And I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I was just starting to research and seeing who I wanted to have with us. And I came across Christopher Priest writing, and I really loved it. And I said, Renee, how can we get a hold of this guy? And she goes, well, I'll make some calls. And she called Jim McLaughlin, and he goes, oh, I represent him. And then boom, we had Christopher on board. And with doing the research with Christopher for 2.5 years and researching the human trafficking that is going on in America and around the world, I was like, I have to do something to give back, to help raise awareness for this, because it was crazy. Because we would come up with ideas, Renee and I, and talk to Christopher, and he'd be like, Dad, there's no way that would ever happen. And we would have 3 or 4 articles. Yes, it happened, and it just happened in this city or that city or this city in America. And he's like, oh, that's got to go in the novel. So we spent 2.5 years developing the story and creating it. And through all that, I decided I was going to work with deliverfund.org and Trafficking in America Task Force to help them raise awareness, to help put an end to human trafficking. What they do is they team up with law enforcement and give them the tools that they need to find the traffickers. They've got the people to break down the doors. They need to figure out where they are and what they're doing. So, and then once we had the story and that, we were like, okay, who are we going to get for artists? Because I wanted a realistic, gritty artist. So I was, going through the internet and come up with Will Conrad. And of course, I go to Renee and I go, look, I really like this art. And she looks at it and she goes, oh, yeah, it's Will Conrad. I worked with him. I'll give him a call. So I'm like, oh, there's our first artist. It's like, and then it just kept going. And so for the first part of the book, we have Will Conrad. Second part, we got Jimbo Salgado. And the third part, we got Michael Montenot.
Wow.
And it has got the first part that Will Conrad does is the origin story. Then Jimbo Salgado's is the case story. And then Michael Montenot's is the truth, is what we're calling the 3 different chapters to this book. And it's a 144-page, beautifully illustrated graphic novel. And then we were like, okay, how are we going to top this all off? So she calls Mark Silvestri and says, hey, would you please do a cover? And he comes up with this amazing, amazing cover for it. And then we also have a Halloween homage cover. So
nice.
A little bit of everything for everybody.
That's cool.
Yeah. Wow. To have Mark on board is unbelievable. Like, the guy's a legend.
Yes. Oh. And like, I've got a little bit of show and tell here for you.
Oh, please do. Yeah.
Is the cover that is done by Stand It Up Comics. And it is amazing that we were able to turn that into a Stand It Up to hold up your graphic novel. So it's kind of amazing. Awesome. It's an amazing part of one of the tiers. And there are several tiers. And there's a coffee and comics tier where you get a 12 ounces of Deliver Funds coffee. So that is helping them with the proceeds to continue to put an end to human trafficking. And then you get the graphic novel, which is a great read also.
And you can go quickly if you want to. You can go to Main Entertainment. That'll bring you everywhere you need to go. There's 10 days left. I closes November 16th, 8:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can go there. We're going to post this on our page so everybody can get the direct link right there and go out and support this great graphic novel. Without giving away too much of the story, what can you tell us about Frank Kane and how his journey starts?
Yeah, he is an ex motorcycle club enforcer, and he's the lone survivor of the Last Spartans. And he gets a second chance. So he's got a new lease on life, and he is asked to go back into the underworld and rescue this girl from human trafficking. And he puts everything on hold and goes and tries to find this girl, and he is on a mission to get her and bring her back from Atlanta's underground. But then he runs into Amanda Harper, who is an undercover decoy who is trying to save them all and arrest all these guys and take down this cartel. But they have to team up together, and between Frank and little Amanda Harper, they kick some ass, you know.
That's awesome.
And put some bad guys in jail.
Nice.
Great. Yeah, I could not think about a greater cause that definitely needs awareness, because, like you said, it's one of those things that has just been, you know, up until, at least in my area, 5 to 10 years ago, it's like, oh, that's not happening here, but it's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
And it is very fucking real.
Yeah, it's out of sight, out of mind, you know.
Yeah.
But it's one of the statistics is that 80% of the trafficking done in America is Americans doing it to Americans. Everybody thinks it's a border thing with people coming across. That is not the case, you know. It's so we all have to be aware and protect the most vulnerable and put an end to this, you know.
Yeah, well, good, like I said, good on you. Again, that's Main Entertainment. You can go there. There's 10 days left in the Kickstarter. Go. There's some great tiers you can get and go out and support this awesome graphic novel. I mean,
yeah, I'll be getting these graphic novels for sure.
Definitely.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support.
Well, we definitely would have had you on you anyways, but when I heard you talk about this at Comic-Con, I was just like, man, this is something we need to get out there. We need to get out there to the people that we can, for sure.
Yeah, and if we do a good enough job with this Kickstarter, hopefully we can turn it into a TV series or a feature, awesome, and continue to raise the awareness and help these organizations put an end to human trafficking. So that is my long-term goal. And if we get enough support from everybody, we can maybe do it.
Nice. I hope we do.
All right. With the 10 or so minutes we have left, we definitely need to talk about some Halloween. How were you first approached for the role of Michael Myers? And what was your take? Like, did you think, oh man, like this is big, like this is, you know?
Yeah, no, like I did Devil's Rejects with Rob,
right,
a few years before the Halloween, and worked with him for about 4 days shooting the opening of Devil's Rejects, and didn't think anything of it. And then phone rings and it's Rob, so you're going to pick up that call. And you know, he says, "Hey, I got this movie. If you don't do it, I'm not going to do it." So I go, "Okay, what is it?" And he said, "It's Halloween. I want you to play Michael Myers." And he goes, just hear me out. And he explained how he was going to be a product of his environment and show the beginning origin of it, and how he's developed and turned him into more of a 3-dimensional character than a 1-dimensional character that he is in a lot of the other films, and give him that backstory. So I was like, cool, that I felt needed to be told. And the whole thing too is that with his origin stories, it can be the guy next door, you know?
Yeah.
You're like sitting there thinking, going, wow, okay, wait a minute. And that's what I really liked about it. And then through doing the research and everything for it, it evolved into what it was.
You didn't watch part 3.
I did not. Why would I watch part 3? It makes no sense.
It was an act, people. If you were there, it was an act. I've hosted these panels, and it's like, oh man, I get, you know, I don't want to be the guy asking the same questions, and I'm sure people, you know, obviously you're gonna want to answer some of the same questions, but I like to bring something different to my panel. So
yeah, you got to have some variety, and you know, and the way I look at it is, I want to have fun doing them because people want to be entertained.
Right.
I've sat through so many panels where you're just like, okay, wake up, you know. And I want to entertain the people. I'm an entertainer, so I want to just make it funny and fun, and that's what I do.
Yeah, we definitely did that for everybody, and I'm glad it ended the way it did with laughs and us shaking hands and taking a picture.
No backbreakers.
Well, I thought about the choke slam for a second there.
Was it a planned 2-part movie when you got involved?
Yeah, I was actually I think I was signed for 3. It was either 1 or it was either 2 or 3. And yeah, and then we came around and the script was great. And then the suits got involved, the Weinsteins and that, and it kind of like, so it was a constant fight and a battle. And if they would have just kept their noses out of it, I think it would have been a lot better. But it turned out great the way it did,
Did it ever?
So it takes you to a dark, deep place.
Oh man, that opening of part 2 in the hospital when Myers, you brought a ferocity with Myers on the nurse and everything like you didn't hear before. Just the raw emotion, like wow.
Yeah,
that was unbelievable.
And that's what I said to Rob. I said, Rob, look, we got to kick it up because I don't want to just do the same thing, Yeah. And if you're doing that kind of physicality, you're not going to be quiet, And I was giving it, and he's like, "That we're going to keep that in there." So
that was scary. Yeah.
No,
it took it to another place.
Yeah, for sure.
That's for sure. Yeah, as a seasoned horror fan, yeah, those movies moved me in a different way for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was just actually that nurse kill is probably my favorite kill next to Big Joe Grizzly. I don't know.
I'm Big Joe. Let me introduce you to my friend.
Yeah,
that was great.
One last thing, Malcolm McDowell. We spoke briefly about working with Malcolm and how much fun it was for you. Tell our fans about Malcolm and what it was like.
Oh my God, Malcolm McDowell is a piece of work. He would always try to make people laugh. He is just so much fun to work with. But we were shooting Super 16 film, and that's hard to find. And Rob's like, "Will you guys quit screwing around and get the take?" So it was a lot of fun. And we did the scene at the front door, and Malcolm just wouldn't shut up. He just kept riffing and pontificating and just going up. And then Rob came to me. He goes, "Tyler, come here." He goes, "Next time he opens his mouth, you snatch his ass, okay? Because I'm running out of film." So Malcolm, he starts to talk, and I just snatched him, and that's when his voice goes up 3 octaves, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And that made it into the film. So it was hilarious.
No way.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Rob just goes snatch his ass.
It's great when stuff like that can actually make it to the final cut because it is so, it's not, you guys know the script, you've rehearsed it, and then something organic happens like that, and it's just so great.
Yeah. It's and that's the beauty with Rob. You'll do your takes, and then he'll let you just play with it to see if something organic comes of it. And usually something always did.
Wow.
Yeah.
We definitely, I myself, Steve as well, we're both big Rob Zombies fans. We always look forward to his next album and or movie. So, man, I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your busy weekend. I know we had some issues Thursday. You were traveling, but
yes, sorry about that. I got to apologize again for that, guys.
No worries. You more than made up for it.
All right, cool.
Because, like I said, sometimes we're about to go live and it's just goes down. And we're like, shit, I don't have another show prepared. But it happens. I get it.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
No
worries.
We're here.
No
we're here
worries.
now. We got it, and
We are.
and just
And
tell
if you-
everybody go get a copy of the Last Spartan Red Tape.
Yeah.
Kickstarter's ending in a few days.
yeah,
I'd
November
really appreciate
16th.
your support, people.
November 16th. Go check it out. We will put the links up there. You can go to Main Entertainment. That'll bring you to everything you need to know. We will also have the direct link up on our Facebook page. People, go check this out. You want to. It's a graphic novel, and we're also raising awareness to something super, super important that is just, it's an epidemic. It's an epidemic that's flying under the radar in a lot of places, and we need awareness for sure.
Yeah.
We will see you not this Thursday, but the next Thursday. Me and Steve will see you. We'll be back with another episode of Two Severed Heads. I want to thank our guest, Tyler Main. We look forward to everything you got coming out of Main Entertainment, not Main Productions, as I kept calling it during the panel there.
You're really trying to get choke slammed.
Mr. Mike Myers. You mean the Canadian?
Yeah.
One last comment here. You're going to have the last word, Sarah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice.
I don't have my reading glasses, so I can't. Really
It's amazingly terrifying performance, Tyler. Thank you. Looking forward to the series Last Spartan Red Tape. Yeah.
Thank
We
you.
definitely hope this gets turned into a series for sure, because it has all the makings of a badass series.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that way we can keep raising awareness and
hopefully make it go away altogether.
Eyes to what is actually going on.
Yeah, lots of work to be done. We thank you for being a soldier in this fight, and everybody go check out our Facebook page. Go check out Main Entertainment. We want to thank our guest. I want to thank Steve for joining me as he does every week. I have been the Metal Mennonite, and this has been another episode of Two Severed Heads. We'll see you in a couple Thursdays from now. Peace.